When planting an established tree in a container like this one right here, there's a couple steps that we want to take to make sure we ensure success with our planting and our tree does really well for the rest of its life. We dig a nice big hole. Usually I like to dig my hole about twice as wide as the pot, and that's what we've shot for right here. It's almost 3 feet across, our hole here, and I want to dig it to the proper depth so that when we plant our tree, the graft right here, if you can see where that graft is, we want the soil line to be about right there. So we want soil to hit about right there on the tree when we plant it. So it's important that we dig the depth right. When you've got heavy clay soil like we've got here, this is a really heavy clay. The soil just compacts down nice and hard. That's not really what we want. We really want good drainage for the tree. So I actually dug this hole deeper than what I would normally dig, and then backfilled with some really nice, topsoil. Put a little bit of soil building compost in there to give it good drainage. And so we really need good drainage for this tree. And so we've dug the hole deeper, put some soil back in there, and I should be able to take the tree out of the pot now and get it to sit at about the right level. We may have to add a little bit more soil in there. So usually what I'll do at this point is I'll turn the tree on its side and I'll push in on the pot in a bunch of different locations, and by pushing in on the pot you can usually get the tree to slide out of that pot. So I've pushed that in really well, and that tree's going to slide right out of the pot without damaging the root system. And you can see there's lots of nice new little roots right there. So we got new roots coming on it. It's got a good root ball, and let's see how that sits. That's actually not too bad. We may have to go down just a little bit. I think I'm going to take the tree out and adjust the bottom of the hole just a little bit. I want this graft to be down just a little bit farther. Right now I think we're about 2 inches above the soil. Need to take it down about 1 more inch for it to work out just right. So I'm going to take that out of the hole, use my trusty trowel, and I think we'll adjust that hole just a little bit. Once it sits down on the bottom, we really don't want this tissue on the tree right here to be exposed too much, and we really don't want this part of the tree to be buried underneath the soil because it can cause collar rot, can cause some damage to the tree as it's growing. So I think I've got that hole adjusted just about right now. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Alright, at this point, once we've got the tree ready to go, I like to put some mycorrhizae on the tree, and so I'm going to tilt the tree over to the side. And the mycorrhizae is a naturally occurring fungus, but it's a good fungus instead of a bad fungus. What it does is it attaches to the root system of the tree. It'll colonize the root system of the tree with a microscopic root hair system that just goes out in search of water and in search of nutrient, and just brings all that water and nutrient right back to the tree. It'll actually live with the tree for the rest of its life. So inoculating the tree with the mycorrhizae is a great way to get your trees established and promote long-term health. Really makes the trees just grow and get established so much better. But once they get going, they're much more likely to do well, especially in a compacted clay soil like we've got right now. So heavy soils like this really concern me. We want to make sure we get the tree off on the right foot to begin with. So usually about 2 cups of the mycorrhizae material. It's a finely ground vermiculite with a little bit of perlite. We want that to come right in contact with the root system. So I'm going to actually sprinkle this and kind of rub it into the root system on all sides so that the mycorrhizae can start to do their work. A little bit down in the bottom of the hole, right underneath where the tree is going to be planted. And that should take care of it. I like to just rub that mycorrhizae right into the root system so it comes right in contact with the roots. Now I've got that covered pretty well all the way around the tree. Make sure your tree's pretty straight. You can adjust it as necessary, but right now it looks pretty good. You may have to put a tree staking system on a little bit later. At this point, I'll take my soil that I've taken out of the hole, and then I've mixed it together with some nice organic topsoil. I mean, there was a lot of clay in here, so I've taken a bunch of the soil out, and then we're going to put some good soil amendment back in there. So we're going to use our organic garden soil, some topsoil, and our soil building compost, which is a finely ground redwood bark with poultry manure and bat guano, worm castings, all kinds of good stuff mixed in with it. And we've already put a little bit of fertilizer, long-term fertilizer on ground with the tree. Mycorrhizae is going to be able to pick that up, and then we can take our soil and backfill that tree. I'll just take a little bit of soil and push it in around the outside of that hole so the tree's nice and sturdy and stable. Usually I'll step on it to try and compact that in just a little bit. We don't want to compact too much. And probably at this point I can just dump that soil back in there, make that work. Let's see how that works out. Not a bad fit. Probably gonna have to put a little bit more soil in there to get that soil line up. See, we're still exposed a little bit. We'll probably put a couple more inches of soil in there. It's a good thing I brought extra. So I'll put a little bit more soil in there, put some mulch in around it, and we should have our soil line right up to about right there, which is about perfect when we get all done. Usually I'll step on it just to kind of compact the soil in just a little bit, and then once we get the rest of that soil put in there, we'll take our root stimulator, mix that up in water. I'd give this tree probably about 5 gallons to really saturate the root ball really well. The root stimulator has a mild fertilizer in there and just a little bit of rooting hormone to help get the tree established and get it to take off a little bit quicker. So probably the first time I water it, and again the second or the third time that it needs watering, I'll use the root stimulator. Then it should be good after that because of the slow release fertilizer that's in there. It's going to break down very gradually, probably feed it for the rest of the year. So between the mycorrhiza and the root stimulator, we're going to give that tree a great place to start. Good soil in around it, nice big hole. Make sure your hole's at least twice as wide as the pot, if not 3 times as wide, especially in a heavy clay soil like this. Good drainage down the bottom so the water will drain out. We don't have water puddling down the bottom, and we should have a great start for the rest of the life of this tree.